Today I am showing you how to manifest using reverse memories. Now, you may have been trying to use manifestation techniques for a while, just like I have been for many years, and it wasn't until I discovered the process of creating reverse memories that my manifestations were actually very consistent. And I am going to break down the exact steps for you today so that you can create your own reverse memories, which will help you to consistently manifest. My name is Kath Kyle and I lead the Hustle Less, Manifest More movement. I help creators and change makers to manifest success and build their dream businesses. So how do we actually use memories to manifest? Well, it all happens when we are younger. It starts when we're younger. Memories start to form in our lives. And what happens is we are told, or we see something, or we experience something in our reality, and that creates a vivid picture in our imagination, and that forms a memory. And that memory gets imprinted in the long-term memory, and that then becomes a belief. And it's through beliefs that your world becomes a reality. Everything that happens in your world is down to the beliefs that you believe, and these all came from memories of things that actually happened in your world. So what we need to do is we need to put new memories into your brain so that you can form new beliefs. So normally what happens is these events occur and then memories form, and then what happens is these get imprinted in the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind actually plays out in our reality. So 95% of the things that happen to us, of the thoughts that we think, the things that we do, the things that we attract into our lives are as a result of the subconscious mind playing over and over again and creating that new reality based on our beliefs and our memories. But thankfully, we have that 5% of our conscious brain that comes from the conscious thought and can also come from the superconscious mind that gives us new ideas and helps us to wake up and realize that actually we don't have to keep playing out this same old story over and over again. You might have been told that you need to go and get a job, that you can only earn a certain amount of money per month, you need to work really hard, you can only climb up incrementally, get promotions, and life is hard, life is a struggle, you need to do things one step at a time, etc., etc. And that's usually the worldview that most people have been told and therefore have imprinted in their subconscious mind. But that 5% has actually given you a glimmer of hope. You've seen people who have started businesses, become successful, earned the money that they wanted to earn and done it on their terms, done it by working less hours like I have. And you might have been motivated that you can actually change your reality. And so you might be thinking to yourself, well, how do I actually do this? And this is exactly what I'm breaking down in this video. So we do know that we actually manifest based on our memories, but did you know that memories are not actually fixed? Memories can be very unreliable. We tend to think that memories are definitely what happened and therefore that shaped our belief system because I was told this, because an authority told me this, because I witnessed somebody else behaving like this. That means that this is fixed in my memory and therefore my beliefs are fixed. But that's not actually true. Your memories can be very unreliable and therefore you can change your memories and you can change your beliefs at any time. You don't need to stick with what you think you have got. So most people's memories are actually not true. Science has proven that memories do change all the time. People keep on telling these same stories of memories over and over again. Remember the time that I did this, or my parents did that. And when you ask other members of the family, it actually wasn't true. A lot of people actually have these false memories, and every time they tell a story, it gets changed slightly every single time until it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what we want to do is create our own self-fulfilling prophecy with something called a reverse memory. Now, usually an event occurs and then a memory is created, but with a reverse memory, what actually happens is we are going to create the event in our imagination, in our mind first, and then the subconscious mind is going to bring that into our reality later. And that's why I call it a reverse memory, because the process happens in reverse. But thankfully, we have been given an imagination for a reason. A lot of people think that we just imagine things, we're daydreaming, it's a waste of time, you're sitting there wasting your time daydreaming when you could be getting on with working hard and building your future. But the imagination is actually the most powerful tool that we have in our human existence. It's the only tool that we can use to change our reality. So we have to harness it by making it believe what we want it to believe, by creating a memory in the first place. So I am going to walk you through 3 essential steps, and a 4th bonus step to creating reverse memories today. So let's start with step number 1. Step number 1 is to choose a new reality. It might go without saying. Obviously, you have to decide what you want before it can manifest, but a lot of people actually really struggle to know what they want, because they have been told their whole lives this is the way life happens, and then they don't have that freedom, that imagination. They haven't tapped into it, so they don't actually know what they want. But you might have some desires that you haven't truly realized at this moment. Like if I said to you, I can wave a magic wand and anything you want will appear in your reality, what would you choose? So what I like to do is I like to create 2 separate lists when I'm doing this, and actually write these down on a piece of paper. This is part of the manifestation technique, actually writing it down. So the first list I want you to create is a list called boosters. Boosters are things that would be a nice boost to your day if they were to manifest. They're not going to transform your life, but they will boost your reality. They'll put a smile on your face and make you think, oh, I'm having a really nice day because my happiness levels have been boosted. So things like receiving a compliment, maybe you would receive a nice message from somebody, maybe it would be nice and sunny today, maybe you'd wake up feeling full of energy today, or you'd wake up feeling happy. These are all boosters. So make a list of boosters. Then what you're going to do is make a list of transformers. Now, transformers are things that have the ability to transform your life. That's why they're called transformers. They have the ability to change your entire life for the better. Now, boosters are things that you think could easily happen in your life. So these are probably things that have already been happening in your life. You probably already have received compliments in your life. You've probably witnessed some nice weather. There's probably been days when you've woken up feeling full of energy. So you think that these are actually a reality. You just like to see a few more of these, and writing these down can really help you to improve your manifestation trust muscle, because when you start to see more boosters coming into your life, you will realize that actually I am manifesting what I want. I am seeing more of these things. These things are happening every day now because I'm writing them on my list of boosters. So these are things that you will start to see, and they'll make you trust in the process of manifestation a lot more and really help to boost your day. But the transformers, these are the things that we really want. These are the things that we are desperate for. For example, we might want to make 20k months. We might want to attract an ideal partner into our lives. We might want our dream house, our dream car, to set up a business that's successful. All these things have the ability to transform our lives. So make a list of transformers as well. just the very art of writing down what you want is actually manifesting things into reality, because you are creating reverse memories as you are writing these items down. So however long it takes you to write down a compliment, it takes a good few seconds. The brain works very quickly. While you're writing that down, the brain will form a memory of this thing actually happening. It will form an image of the brain. It will form an image of somebody coming up to you and saying something nice, blah, blah, blah. You look very nice today. I really like your dress. And then you saying, oh, thank you very much. And then you both smiling and putting a smile on your face, making you feel happy. You'll feel the emotions. And that can all happen in just a few seconds that it takes you to write down this word. So just the act of writing down actually does manifest. It does create a reverse memory. It creates a new memory in your brain. So this is why this is part of the process. This is an essential part of the process. So we're writing all this down. As soon as you start writing down your boosters, you will start to see these manifest probably within a few days. You'll start to see these happening. If you do this process every day, you'll probably see them happening every single day. However, the transformers, these are the things that we really want, and these are the things that most people struggle with. So that's why we don't stop here at step 1. That's why we keep going and move on to step 2, because steps 2 and step 3 are the process that are really going to help us bring these transformers into our reality. Because what actually tends to happen is we block these with our own thoughts, with our belief system, with our existing memories that say, this can't happen to me. I can't make £20,000 $1,000 a month, because that has never happened, because I've been told that that doesn't happen to me, because that's not part of my reality. My evidence is not showing me that that's possible. I don't know how that could actually happen when I have a job. I don't even have a business. So how could that actually happen for me? So as soon as you start writing this down on your piece of paper, your brain is saying, no, not going to happen, not going to happen. It can't create that memory so easily because you're blocking it. And that's why we have to put a little bit more effort into this process. And moving on to step 2 and step 3, that is going to show you how it's done. So let's move on to step 2. Step 2 is creating a perfect scene. So if you've ever done scripting before, this is what we are doing in this scene. And I do things a little bit differently to what you might have heard to create that reverse memory. So we are going to be writing down our scene to start with. Then we are going to be imagining it in step 3. So we are going to write it down. It's very important to write it down first, because just the act of writing it down helps you to create it in your mind's eye. But also it helps to solidify exactly what you want. When you just start to visualize and imagine in your mind, your brain just gets bored, it gets lost and gets confused. It starts thinking about what you're making for dinner, and then you've wasted all that time. You think, I can't do visualization. And it's because you haven't written it down. You haven't got clear on what exactly you want first of all. So we are writing down a scene of what we want things to look like when our manifestation has actually happened. So what we are going to do is we are going to fast forward 1 year into the future. And the reason for this is because if we imagine somebody telling us, you are going to be making $20,000 next month, or I'm going to be writing you a check for $20,000, you haven't actually received the $20,000 yet. It hasn't actually changed your life in any way. All you've done is had a promise. So what we actually want to do is we want to imagine what things actually look like, what impact it's had on our life, how it's actually transformed our life. We don't just want a promise of, oh, this is going to happen in the future. We want to know what our life looks like as a result of earning this money. Money can be very abstract. The reason why we really want money is because we want to buy things with it. We want to experience things with that money. We don't just want a number on a bank balance for the sake of it. Yes, it might make us feel good in that moment. We think, oh yes, I'm rich. That's really nice. But what we actually want is the things that we can buy with that money. So it's good to think about how that money is actually going to transform our lives, and not just think about the money appearing on a bank balance or on a check, which can be a good starting point, but it's much better to think about the end result that you actually want that money for. So we need to fast forward on a year. We need to create a scene which lasts about 10 seconds in the mind. This doesn't mean it lasts 10 seconds when you read it out loud. When I have created scenes, usually they take about 1 minute to read out loud. They take about 2 or 3 or even 5 minutes to write, but they only take about 10 seconds to loop in the brain. And the reason for this is because the brain skips in frames and it fast forward things. So things that you are writing down, the brain can picture very, very quickly. So that's why it needs to be about 10 seconds long, between 5 and 10 seconds long, a quick scene that you can loop over and over in your brain, and one that you can easily remember so you don't forget it. Because if you create a scene that's too long, your brain will just forget it and you won't be able to create a reverse memory as a result. And the next thing is you want to use your own vocabulary. You need to use your own words in this scene, and don't write words that are similar to mine. Write words that you would actually say in real life, because this is going to imprint and create a memory, because you are telling a new story, and you need to tell that story from your point of view using words that you would actually use if you said them to someone else. So we are creating a scene, and you can imagine, if you like, writing an email or a letter to a friend and telling them about this scene, if that helps you to create a scene. And what you want to do is imagine that this scene has already taken place. It's about a year in the future, but it's already taken place. Say it happened yesterday and you are writing an email to a friend and you're so excited about this scene because it's transformed your life, and this picture is the way that you are describing your new transformed life to your friend. So what we are going to have is, in this scene, we want to have 4 different elements. 3 of them we're going to get specific, and the 4th one is just implied and it will just come naturally. So the first thing we want to do is we want to put images into our scene. And if you are the type of person who can't create images in your mind, you can still write them down. You can write down a scene. So at least write it down. If you can't visualize it, it's okay, because the 3rd step will still help you to imagine this in your mind, even if you can't visualize images. So you're going to imagine something that you can actually see. So what would you spend this money on? What would be the result of you making $20,000 a month at least for the last year? Say if you've had a whole year and that's your new norm, your new reality is you are somebody who makes $20,000 every single month, and you have done for a year. What would you have bought in that last year that would have transformed your life? For me personally, that would be a camper van. That is something on my own list. So a camper van is something that I want. So create an image of something. What are you going to see? I'm going to see the camper van. Why do I want that camper van? I want that camper van because I want to be able to look out at beautiful views from the camper van. So I'm also going to see a beautiful view. So I'm going to see the outside of the camper van, the inside of the camper van, because I own it. I'm not looking at somebody else's camper van. I need to be able to be on the inside to know that I'm actually staying in the camper van, and I'm looking at the beautiful view, which is the main reason I want the camper van to drive to the beautiful views. So these are all the things that I'm going to be looking at. Now we need to bring touch into the scene. Touch means action. You are actually doing something. You are moving, or something is moving. There has to be some kind of action taking place, because if nothing is moving, then it's not reality. It's not actually happening. You're looking at a photo, and that's not a memory. A memory is something that actually is happening. So what would you be doing in this new scene? So for me, these are all the things that I'm doing in the new scene. I'm cooking dinner. I'm making a salad. I've just finished chopping all the salad. I've got all the ingredients in the bowl. I've got the onions, I've got the lettuce, I've got the lemon cashew dressing drizzled on the top, and I'm just putting it into 2 bowls and finishing it off with a nice garnish on the top. Then I'm carrying the 2 bowls out from my kitchen in my camper van down the steps, and I'm walking towards the 2 camping chairs. One of them has my husband sitting on the camping chair, and the other one is empty. That's my chair. I pass one of the bowls to my husband, and then I sit down in my own chair and I start eating my dinner. So that's all the things that I'm actually doing in the scene. Then we're going to bring the third element in, which is sound. So the sound is actually having a conversation. This is really important because what's one of the first things that you do when something happens in your life that transforms your life? You tell somebody about it. You keep telling that story. You tell that new story over and over again. Every person that you come into contact with, you tell them how your life has transformed, how it's changed. This has to be part of your manifestation because this solidifies in your mind what has actually happened. Because if you just have the first part of it, you could be renting a camper van. You could have just rented, somebody else could have just paid for you to rent a camper van for the weekend, and that's how this scene has unfolded. But we want this scene to be as a result of earning the 20k months. So we need to put that into the conversation to make that crystal clear in the memory that that is the reason why we are in this camper van. So we're going to have a conversation as part of this scene, and the conversation is either going to be in person or it's going to be a phone call. So you're going to sit in the scene and you're going to be on the phone to somebody else. So I suggest that you bring somebody into the scene if it's somebody you actually want to be in the scene, somebody that you trust, somebody who is going to be happy for you, is not going to be jealous, is not going to be having any negative emotions brought into the scene. They're going to be very, very happy for you and you want them to be there. If not, have a phone call with somebody. Especially if you want to be on your own in the scene, have a phone call with somebody from the scene. And if you don't have anyone in your life that you can trust, just make up an imaginary person. You don't have to create many details for that person. There's simply a person just sitting there in the chair. It doesn't need to mean anything apart from just somebody else is there. And now you're going to be creating this new conversation. So the conversation needs to be just 2 sentences. The first sentence is yours, the second sentence is theirs, and that's nice and short so you can keep looping this conversation over and over. So first of all, you're going to say something like, wow, isn't this amazing that we get to stay in this camper van, in our camper van, every single week and look at this beautiful view? Because you're talking about the thing that you actually want, and then they are going to confirm that you have it and that it's amazing and that it was your money that made it manifest. So then they're going to say something like, yes, it's absolutely beautiful and you did so well to earn over $20,000 every month to make this possible. Well done, you. They congratulate you, something like that. So they're going to confirm how it happened, that it was the money that brought this into the existence, the money that you earned, and they're confirming that back to you and they're congratulating you. So it doesn't need to be very long. It needs to be short enough that you can remember it so you can loop it over and over again. So it's a very, very short conversation. You don't need to say anything more than is absolute essential. So after you've had this phone call, you are naturally going to feel emotion. So emotion is going to occur naturally. You don't need to force the emotion. You don't need to say that, and then I was leaping up and down, jumping for joy and shouting, I'm rich at the top of my voice. You don't need to do that because your own emotion will naturally come about as a result of putting yourself in this scene. So just make it natural. Your emotion should be natural, otherwise your mind won't remember it if it's not natural emotion. You don't need to force it. You don't need to say, and then I was so grateful, it was amazing. You'll just feel that as a result of this scene and this conversation. So that's step 2. So you've written this down. So this will be like a paragraph long. Then what you need to do is you need to imagine it in your mind. So you need to just repeat it in your mind. So close your eyes and just replay that whole scene in your mind. And I know it took me a while to explain the whole scene, but this is actually just a 10-second scene. I'm putting the stuff in the bowls, I'm walking down the steps, I'm at the chairs, I sit down, we have the conversation. The conversation is the bit that takes the long time. Everything else, I just see the view as I'm having the conversation, I'm looking at the view. So in my imagination, I'm seeing something at the same time as hearing something, at the same time as eating something. So you can bring the other senses in. If you are putting eating into your scene, you can bring in the smell and the taste. So that will bring all 5 emotions in, but really it's the 3 emotions that create the memories that we want based on something that we want in the future. So what you need to do is close your eyes, replay this scene, and it takes me about 10 seconds to loop this scene. Then loop that scene 10 times in your mind, and you can use your fingers to count 1, 2, 3, and it'll probably take you about 2 minutes to replay the scene over and over again. Using your fingers to count really helps you to not get distracted and for your mind not to wander off because you are engrossed in this scene. If you want to make the scene longer, occasionally you can do that, but most of the time just loop it very quickly, because when you create memories in your brain, they're actually just small snapshots and not usually really, really long memories. You don't usually remember that many details about something. Then what you need to do is repeat this 2 times a day, preferably in the morning and in the evening before you go to bed and when you wake up. But if it's not possible, it will work at other times of the day. So try and do it twice a day, and then also do it for 7 days, at least 7 days. And by the end of 7 days, this should have created a new memory in your mind. So if somebody was to ask you, what do you want? What kind of thing are you working towards? And you immediately thought 20k months, this scene should come up by you thinking of 20k months. Every time from now on you're writing down your transformers every day. When you write down 20k months, this memory should pop up immediately. And if it doesn't pop up, then you haven't created a lasting memory in your long-term memory. So that memory needs to immediately pop up. Just bing, you're sitting at the camper van, whatever your scene is, bing, it pops up straight away from that association of whatever it was. So that's when you know you've successfully created a reverse memory, when it pops straight into your mind. So do it for 7 days, and then you can move on to creating a different reverse memory. But what I would suggest is that keep coming back to it, maybe at least once a week, until it manifests into your reality, because otherwise it will fade from the memory. Memories are not stored forever in the brain. They do need to keep getting retold as a story. So keep reading this once a week and read it out loud if you can, and then loop it 10 times once a week, just to keep it at the forefront of your mind and keep it in the long-term memory. And when it's in the long-term memory, then the subconscious mind will play it out into reality. So they're the 3 main steps. And then the 4th step is just don't contradict it. I know you've got a lot of existing belief systems at the moment. You've got a lot of memories that have created your existing reality, but just try not to contradict it. It is very hard. It will take practice. But as soon as you get a thought popping into your mind that says, I don't have much money, I don't see any evidence of the money coming in, immediately just change it and think to yourself, it's on its way. It's already happened in another dimension, and I am just approaching that new dimension, and I'm just about to step into it any minute now. It's already created. You don't need to work hard. You don't need to wait a long time. It's already there in another dimension. You are simply just stepping into it. Just tell yourself that every single time. If you think a negative thought, don't beat yourself up. Just say to yourself, even though I am feeling some resistance, I know that I can have what I want because it's already created. Just keep on reminding your mind that this is your chosen reality, and just keep on doing it. With repetition, it will become easier and easier. And the more you see your boosters manifest, the more confidence it will give you that things actually are manifesting in your life, that you are good at manifesting, you're good at creating reverse memories, and this is your new reality. And I know this is a lot to take in, but if you want my complete guide to remind you of this entire process, you can get that by clicking around this content piece, or you can go to kathkyle.com/reverse memories, and you will be able to download my guide for free from there. And I also want to invite you to join my business manifestation club. If you are somebody who has a business or wants to create a business and you want to apply the principles of manifestation into that business, I encourage you to join our club. You can join for free and see if you like it, and then we go through different manifestation steps every single month, and we all work together and encourage each other, and it is fantastic. So if you want to join us, then click the link around this content piece, or you can go to kathkyle.com/club. Leave me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are, like this video, and now it's your turn to go and put your stamp on the world.